Okay, let's go ahead and go over this for problem number 1. Problem number 1. For Mother's Day, you're taking your mom out for lunch. The lunch special is $24.99 and a drink is $1.50. Tax is 6% and you tip 25%. What is the final cost of the meal? Who can tell me what they got for problem number 1? Zachary. $69.40. Don't forget that this is money that you're talking about. It's not 69.40. It's $69.40. But very good. I'm glad that you were able to get that correct. Huh? Let me guess. Did you get $39.70? Or $34.70? You forgot that you are taking your mom out for lunch. So how many people are there? Oh. You guys are horrible children to your poor mommy for Mother's Day. Oh my goodness. Your poor mommies. You have to multiply it by 2. All right. Let me walk you through it step by step. Quiet. The very first thing, so I'm going to even write this down. This is the first step that you're going to do. Before you begin, you are going to take your tax percentage and you are going to add it with your tip percentage. Right, Richard? We're going to add those percents together so that we are working with just a single percent. So we're adding 25% for the tip and 6% for the tax together. That means we are dealing with 31% as our new percentage. Okay, tip and tax are always based off of the subtotal. You do not tip based off of a taxed value. So that is why we are able to combine them together, because they both are based off of the original value. We are not able to add or subtract discounts and percentages because they are not both based off of an original value. Discounts are based off of an original, but your tax is based off of the newly discounted value. Okay? So that's why those have to be done separately. These can be combined together because they are based off of the original, both of them are. Now, the second step, which is where some of you made your mistake, you need to find your subtotal. You have $24.99 that you're going to add together with your $1.50, but then you're going to multiply this by 2 because it is you and your mom. You and your mom. So that means you're going to multiply that times 2 once you've added it together. That's going to come out to a total, before you do anything, of $52.98. That is your, what we call your subtotal. Yes, dear?
Couldn't we just get the unit price for one person and then multiply by however many?
Yeah, you could do that too if you wanted to wait until the very end. That's perfectly fine, but a lot of people forget to do that at the very end, like you did, right? Yeah? So you want to make sure you find that ahead of time. Okay, our third step in this situation, after we found our subtotal, we're going to go ahead and set up our proportion. So we've got X over our $52.98, and that's going to be set equal to our percentage that we found, which was 31% out of 100. Okay, we would then do our cross product. When we do our cross product, we're going to wind up finding out that X is going to come off as $16.42, because you need to make sure you round it properly. $16.42. This represents the tax and the tip. That's the tax and the tip. Okay. Our last step, our fourth step, is to go ahead and combine. So what we're doing is we're taking that subtotal of $52.98 and we are going to combine it with our $16.42. And that's where we get our final answer of $69.40. Okay? You had to combine your tip and tax percents together first. You had to find out what your subtotal was. Then you do your percent proportion based off of your subtotal and your combined percentages, and combine the subtotal with that tip and tax dollar amount. All right, for problem number 2, you have 2 coupons at Macy's. One is for $25, I should say off, not of, $25 off. And the other is for 25% off. If you are purchasing a sweater for $42.62 and 2 pairs of jeans for $30.65 each, which coupon is the better deal? So we want to identify which one is going to wind up being the better deal. So first thing that we need to do, first we need to find our subtotal. The subtotal means that you are adding your prices of everything that you're purchasing together. So you bought a sweater for $42.62, plus you bought 2 pairs of jeans for $30.65 each. So it's 2 times the $30.65. Okay, so that means you have a subtotal of $103.92. Okay? The second thing you're going to do is you're going to check the coupon. You're going to check what the $25 coupon is. So I want to know if I take my $103.92 and I subtract the $25, right? That's the $25 off coupon. How much is that going to come out to? $78.92. So that's the $25 off coupon. The third thing that I'll do is I will check my 25%. I'm going to check the 25% coupon. So that means I'm going to do X over $103.92 is equal to 25% out of 100. If I do my cross product and work it out, I'm going to find out that X is going to come out to $25.98, which means they're going to take off more money, aren't they? So that's the better deal, isn't it? Because it's going to remove more money. If I take my $103.92 and I subtract my $25.98, then I'm winding up spending only $78? Nope, $74 or $77 and 94 cents. Or 96 cents. Okay? So you're going to have No, I just did my math wrong. I subtracted wrong in my head. I know, it happens.
That's why we have
94 cents. I was right the first time when I said 94. All right. So $77.94 is going to wind up being your final cost. That's the better deal. This is the better deal, okay? All right, let's take a look at problem 3. Problem 3, George is purchasing a camera for $650. He's got a coupon for 40% off and tax for 8%. How much is he going to pay for his camera? So, again, 4 steps. The first step is to find the discount. We're going to do X over $650 is equal to 40% out of 100. When we do our cross product and solve, we're going to find out that X is going to come out to $260. That represents how much money he's taking off of the price. That represents how much money he's going to remove from the price. The second step is to go ahead and remove it. We're going to do $650 and we're going to subtract the $260. And that gives us our new subtotal, which is $390. That is our new subtotal. Okay, once you have removed your discount, that becomes the new price. That becomes the new cost of our item. Okay, based off of that, we then go on to the third step to find our tax. X over our new subtotal, 390, is equal to 8% over 100. When we do our cross product for there, you're going to wind up getting $31.20. That represents your tax. And what's our last step to do? Add what? What are we adding together? The new subtotal, the 390. We're going to take that 390 and we're going to add it with the $31.20. Okay, that gives you your final cost, which is $421.20. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Couldn't you get like the tax and the coupon and like subtract the percentage of the tax?
Let's try that. Let's try it. Let's see if we do 40% and we subtract the 8%, that's 32%, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying that we could just do 30% or 32% off of 650, right?
Yeah.
So if we do 650 and then we're going to multiply that by 32 and divide it by 100, that's going to be 208. So 650 minus 208, does that come out to the same thing, $421.20?
No.
No, it comes out to 442. That's why you can't do that. Okay? Because tax is being added to it, but only based off of what our newest discounted value is going to be. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and flip it on over. We're going to talk about simple interest for today. Simple interest is the concept of paying interest or earning interest off of an account. Okay, now most accounts that we deal with are not actually done through simple interest. Most of them are done through compounds, either compounded quarterly, which means that every 3 months you earn interest on it, or they might be compounded through biannually, meaning that every 6 months it's going to provide interest. What simple interest is focusing on is based off of an annual interest rate. Which a lot of accounts these days don't really focus much on annual interest rates, but we do tend to focus on it for things like loans and stuff like that. The formula that we utilize is called I-party, right? I-P-R-T. It's silly, but it's the I-party formula. This right here represents, this represents the interest. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight this in my purple. This represents the money amount for our interest. So when you earn interest off of something, so if you have a savings account, you earn interest off of it. When you give the bank your money and they hold on to it, they pay you interest for holding on to it. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's less than 1% that they are providing for you. It's very, very small. The point is that you have a place to hold your money. So like, let's say that you've got several thousands of dollars. You really don't want to be keeping that. Well, because what they utilize with that money, they use your money. So, okay, way back in like the 20s and 30s when the Great Depression happened, there was a big scare where people thought that all their money was going to be gone. So they all rushed to the banks and withdrew their money, which caused a great downfall in the banking industry back then. That's what helped to initially start the Great Depression. People held their monies in these banks, but the problem is that the banks don't actually have your money. So banks themselves have billions of dollars in them, but they don't actually have $1 billion in them. If you were to go and let's say that you, for some stupid reason, decide you're going to go rob a bank today, you're not going to get $1 billion, even though that might be what's in the account. because the banks don't actually hold that money in there. A lot of that money that you are putting into the bank then gets turned into what they call an investment. So the ways that banks make money is through investments. They invest into different stocks and different companies, and that helps them turn it around. They also provide that money to people who are then coming in for a loan. So if I want to buy a house and I don't have the money to buy a house, I got to go to a bank. I can't be approved to purchase a home unless I can prove that I have the money myself or that I have a bank that's willing to loan me the money. So when people provide their money into the bank then uses that money to go ahead and provide loans, which then became a huge issue back in 2009, which for, some of you were maybe not even born, or you were just little babies. That was when we had a huge downfall in our economy again, because people were taking out loans for, here, let me go and pause this. So, I-party. I'm going to go through it real quickly now. P represents the principal amount. That's the amount of money that you're going to borrow or the amount of money that you're going to invest. So the amount of money that you would borrow or the money that you would invest. So we call it the principal. It's what you borrow or invest. Because again, interest doesn't mean that you're putting money always into the bank. Sometimes you might be borrowing money from a bank or borrowing money from friends or something of the sort. If you're borrowing and people charge you interest, that's called, the money that you borrow is called the principal. R is considered to be the rate. It is a percentage, but because it is a percentage, what are percentages always out of?
Interest.
No, what are percentage always out of?
Rates. I was just reading what you wrote.
What number value are percents always out of?
100.
100. Thank you. Somebody's listening. So when we talk about rate, the percentage, when they give you a percent, always put it over 100. Your rate is always going to be a percent out of 100. And then T, time, that represents the time, but most importantly, the specific type of time. It is only going to represent it in years. The time must be written in years. So if they were to give you something that is not in years, so if they give you something like months, how many months are in a year? 12. So if you have months, then you're just going to divide by 12. If you are given months, you're going to put it over 12. Okay? So based off of that information, this is the formula that we always focus on in the situation, and we just substitute the values that we see into the formulas and then solve. You might either be multiplying everything together to solve for interest. Maybe you might be combining your interest with your principal. Because again, if you are taking out a loan, not only do you have to pay back what you borrowed, but you also have to pay back the interest. If you are putting money into the bank, not only is the money that you invest yours, but so is the interest. So these are things that you need to make sure you're reading very carefully. Is it asking you for only interest, or is it asking you for the combined amount? So in question number 1, Liz has an account for $500 that earns 8% simple interest. After 3 years, how much interest will she earn? So the question is only asking for how much interest is she going to earn. I just want to know what is the I value going to equal. So obviously I is blank. We don't know what that is. The principal, P, is the $500 that she has in her account. The rate is 8% over 100, because remember, it's always out of 100. And the time, they gave it to us in years, so we're good. We can just put 3 years. So then we just plug it into our formula. I equals principal, which is 500, times the rate, which is 8 over 100, times the time, which is 3. So I'm just going to multiply all of that together. I'm going to get $120 is my interest. Again, it's only asking me for the interest in this question. If the question were to ask how much total would I have for my account, I would take that interest and combine it with the 500. Okay, let's take a look at problem number 2. Arnold took out a loan. So we see a loan for a money amount. It's a loan for 580. I know that represents my principal is 580. Shh. The interest rate is 3%, so there's my R. It's 3 over 100. The fact that you're not copying things down. Now the loan is only for 3 months. Here's the issue. It's in months, so what am I supposed to do? 3 over 12. So the time is going to be 3 over 12 because I want it in years. 3 months out of 12 months will represent the amount of years. Now the question is not just asking for the interest, but it's asking for the total amount. It wants to know how much is the total amount. So notice I'm going to be putting that in my orange because it's not the same thing as the interest. Interest is missing, and then I have to find my total. So I'm first going to find my interest by multiplying my 580 times my rate, 3 over 100, times my years, which is 3 months out of 12. When I multiply all of that together, my interest is going to come out to $4.35. From there, in order to find my total, I then have to just combine. I'm going to take my principal of 580 and I'm going to add it with my interest, which is the $4.35. And that's going to give me my total. Okay, if we take a look at problem number 3, Lewis took out a car loan for $5,000. Okay, so there we go. See again, a loan for $5,000. That's a principal. Takes him 2 years to pay it back. Years, that represents time, and it's in years already, so it's just the 2. He's going to pay back 3% in his interest, so his rate is 3% out of 100. I want to know how much did he pay back. So is that the interest or the total? How much he pays back, is that interest or total? Total. How much he pays back is a total, because you pay back your loan, you pay back what you borrowed, and you pay back the interest on it. So I have to find my interest, and then I have to find the total. So we're going to do 5,000 times my rate, 3% over 100, times my time of 2 years. So the amount of interest that he's going to be charged is $300 in interest. Now for the total, how much he totally pays back. We have to take his $5,000 that he borrowed and add the interest onto it. So he's going to owe $5,300. All right, you place $15,000 into savings. $15,000 into savings, that's my principal. You earn 1.5% in interest, so it's 1.5 over 100. You're going to do this for 12 years. So your time is 12. How much money should be in the account at the end of 12 years? Is that interest or total? Total. Because you're going to have $15,000 and you're going to have your interest. That represents a total. If it was just asking interest, it will literally say how much interest. Okay? So we're going to do interest is equal to 15,000 times 1.5 over 100 times your 12 years. When we multiply all of that together, that's going to come out to 2,700. That's how much in interest he's going to owe. And then we combine those together for our total. All right, tonight you guys have a quizzes that has been loaded into Google Classroom. You get one shot only on it. It's not a double shot. So one attempt to answer the questions correctly. Make sure you get it done. It closes on Friday at 10 a.m. Closes Friday at 10 a.m. But tomorrow, what is due tomorrow? The IXL that was given to you yesterday and the Google Slides that was given to you yesterday. Those are due tomorrow.